So true. So true is that comment. Still heavy backing for Rose of Kingston in the ring. She's apparently in the red now, and she's firmed up on the tote here in Adelaide to $1.20 the win. Copperama's come in on the tote but gone out in the ring. It's around about 3-1 in both quarters. Shirako's in a couple of points on the tote. No, he's not. He's just gone out a point on the tote, I beg your pardon, and a half a point in the ring, whilst there has been some inquiries for the New Zealander Noble Heights. Well, John Letts, the South Australian horseman, as you heard earlier, is happy with his ride on Shirako, and we asked him the same question of his race plan to win this afternoon's $130,000 Classic.
I'd like to be running third or fourth and just travelling behind the speed with, I think, Frivolous Lass will more than likely lead, because she's a mare that we have seen race here a lot, and her best races are run in the lead. And I'm hoping today that I can be just behind the pace, and I'm sure from the home turn that when these horses sprint, that this little mare that I'm riding, she's going to sprint hard with them, because she's a gutsy little thing, and she never gives up, and she's been carrying big weights here lately, and we're very happy with her at the moment.
So John Letts, the rider there on Shirako, trained by Bart Cummings, a man who knows how to prepare a horse to win a big race. She's had 2 starts back. She won first up over a 1,000-metre course, and then she finished second behind Avern at her second start back from a spell over 1,600 metres. So the runners, as you can see, are milling around behind the 2,000-metre barrier, and it won't be long before the starter gives the instruction for them to move in. With Rose of Kingston now showing $1.10.70 on the Adelaide tote, $1.10.70 here in Adelaide. Barrier attendants going down to pick up their respective candidates to place them in line. In the foreground is the Colin Hayes prepared Frivolous Lass in lime green and black stripes. Better Noble and Lady Nurmi both carry very similar colours from side on, almost inseparable, with Lady Nurmi with a white bridle, probably the only way of distinguishing her from Better Noble when you're broadcasting side on.
Willits, next, please. Right up. Phillips. 5.
So Lady Nurmi is the first one to go up in all respects, is about to come up. Frivolous Lass just going into the line now.
Come on.
Malcolm Johnston standing back with Copperama.
Coleman. Who else? Phillips, Willits, Coleman. 6 is Willits, thank you.
Much bigger crowd in attendance here today to see the running of the Oaks than was the case on Saturday. But honestly, you had to be here to witness the Adelaide heat to appreciate that. I guess a pool or the beach would have been a much better place to be. Having had a bet on the tote, I would think listening to a transistor on the beach would have been a much more desirable way of spending Saturday. Very thirsty weather in Adelaide. Shirako is going up towards the outside. Volley Dream to come up with Maiden Century. Copperama and Better Noble is going to be the last in. 2,000 metres, and it's really a dynamite start. They're almost set for a start on the Australasian Oaks, the first running thereof. In all respects, made the lunge at the front of the gates. Light is on. They're racing in the Oaks. On the inside, Lady Nurmi began okay. Copperama went straight to the lead, taken on by In All Respects. Rose of Kingston is going to settle about 4th or 5th. Trapped a little bit wide in the early part around Frivolous Lass. Going up very fast on the outside is Better Noble. Shirako is out wide with Maiden Century. Rose of Kingston got back to be 4th last, with Neptune Princess behind her in company with Noble Heights and Volley Dream. Along the back section they go now by the 1,600. In All Respects is the leader. A couple of lengths on Copperama. Frivolous Lass it's outside, and they're followed by Lady Nurmi on the inside of Better Noble. A length back to Shirako and 2 away to Noble Heights, much closer today, followed by Rose of Kingston. Maiden Century is off the track. Volley Dream is back second last, and Neptune Princess was last, but she's going very fast around the field now. They've reached the top of the track at the 1200 now and going fast in front. Frivolous Lass by 3 lengths in all respects as second, Copperama third. Going around them on the outside is Shirako with Neptune Princess out even wider. Then Better Noble followed by Lady Nurmi. Rose of Kingston starting her run about 3 wide outside the New Zealander Noble Heights, and Volley Dream is still last. They're packing up as they come down the side of the track now, and they're racing by the 800, and here Frivolous Lass is the leader. 3/4 Copperama the centre, and out 3 wide is Neptune Princess. A break of 2.5. Shirako ridden the perfect race. They're followed over on the inside by Better Noble, Maiden Century. There goes Volley Dream, 3 wide around them. Rose of Kingston momentarily blocked up on the fence. The New Zealander Noble Heights is taking off early, followed by Lady Nurmi, who couldn't go with them when they sprinted, and in all respects had dropped out to be at the tail of the field. Into the stretch in the Australasian Oaks and going very fast. Volley Dream had gone up to tackle Copperama. They dropped off Frivolous Lass. Here's Rose of Kingston coming at them down the centre from Shirako. The whips are out and cracking. Copperama on the inside. Volley Dream is going greenly. Rose of Kingston got checked, had to be pulled away from them. She's gone back to the fence, Rose of Kingston, and now she's coming with a devastating run. I think she's going to make it, is she? Oh, it's very close. I think Rose of Kingston from Volley Dream. There could even be a protest if she hasn't won. They're followed by Copperama, then Noble Heights, Shirako, then Frivolous Lass, followed by Better Noble, Neptune Princess, Maiden Century, Lady Nurmi, and in all respects was last. Oh, this has been one heck of a run by Rose of Kingston, win, lose or draw. I'm on an awful angle, and she's on the inside, and we're broadcasting past the post. Here's the slow motion replay for you to have another look at it. But I'm just wondering whether Volley Dream, which I said was racing greenly, there's no doubt that Brent Thompson on Volley Dream has probably made Gary Willits change his mind, and Rose of Kingston dash back to the fence. She's got up on the inside, and here's this very difficult one for, I would think, everybody. Commentators, jockeys, and the judge in particular to decide. Looking at the replay, I'm more inclined to think that the horse on the outside looks to have won. That's Volley Dream, but I'm wondering at the same time whether or not Volley Dream has caused Rose of Kingston's jockey Gary Willits to change course and go back to the fence. Brent Thompson thinks he's won on Volley Dream. The photo sign is up. Brent Thompson is supremely confident that he's won. This Rose of Kingston coming back. I think Gary Willits is prepared to concede defeat. Brent Thompson with the clerk of the course at the moment. Well, on the line, I must admit that I thought maybe the Rose of Kingston had lunged and maybe won at a nose, but here's the slow motion replay again. That's just after Rose of Kingston's rider Gary Willits had gone back to the fence as he saw that maybe Volley Dream wasn't steering a straight course. Copperama game in defeat. Rose of Kingston and Volley Dream, they went to the line with not an inch separating them. But looking at that over and over again, it would seem that Volley Dream on the outside has won to the angle of the television camera. Gary Willits more inclined to hang back, whereas Brent Thompson on number 6 there, Volley Dream, was first back. He hacked back, was picked up by the clerk of the course, and I believe he was prepared to think that he had won. I see now that both jockeys are exchanging thoughts. They're both looking up at the semaphore, and maybe Gary Willits is becoming just a fraction more confident now that he may have arrived in time to win the first running of the Australasian Oaks. Copperama has finished up in third placing officially, but that man up there, the judge, I would think would have called for the develop print and the magnifying glass. Number 1 has got it. Number 1, Rose of Kingston has won the Australasian Oaks. Well, what a roar from the crowd. Brent Thompson in the background as Gary Willits doffs his cap. And it's a scene of jubilation, I would think, in the betting ring for punters who took the short odds about the Queen of the Turf. A short half head is the winning margin official. A length between second and third. 1, 6 and 2 official after the Australasian Oaks. 1, 6 and 2. Rose of Kingston by a short half head. A length between second and third. 2:3.7. 2:3.7 the time. Number 4 was fourth, Noble Heights, and 3 was officially fifth, Shirako. Well, I've got to confess, as a commentator, this Morford Philangle sent me for a sixer when I saw Brent Thompson hack back to scale, because I knew what I'd said. I thought Rose of Kingston may have just got there. And then all of a sudden I saw Brent come back so confident. I thought, oh my goodness, I've gone the wrong way, and there's going to be a lot of money out there and a lot of people very disappointed that I even ventured a guess. So I guess I'm quite happy that Rose of Kingston has got this pat, and Gary Willets is a very happy jockey. Goodness gracious me, what a run is David Haynes and his wife having as they come out now to take the lead, and they'll walk back to the number 1 stall alongside of Rose of Kingston after a tremendous effort. I don't think anyone, probably until you see the head-on, will appreciate just the problems that Gary Willets was experiencing at around about the 150-metre point. She was in full gallop. She was full steam ahead, and to change course at top speed and go back to the fence has taken a mighty effort by that horse, Rose of Kingston, to win today. She's by Claude out of Kingston Rose, owned by D.H. and Mrs. H.A. Haynes and H. and Mrs. K. Devine, trained by Bob Hoisted, a nicer man in the business you won't meet, and ridden by one of Melbourne's very popular jockeys, former New Zealander Gary Willets. $90,000 in first prize money goes to the winner, 24 to second, and 12 to third, with 4,000 to the fourth place getter. Copperama, perfectly ridden by Malcolm Johnson, and there can be no excuses for her. She just didn't quite get the 2,000 metres. It's as simple as that. Well, she got it. Let's face it, she got it faster than 8 of the others. But the point is that Rose of Kingston and Volley Dream just were able to run out the journey that little bit stronger. I'd say Volley Dream is at her right distance at 2,000. Rose of Kingston now, of course, probably looking for longer. Well, she's going to return around $1.20 as we take you to the saddling paddock now for after-race interviews. First up, here's Graham Goodings.
We meet so many people.
Bob Hoisted, congratulations, you've done it again.
Thank you,
you've
Graham.
done it for the first time, the Australasian Oaks. How do you feel?
Well, it's a great thrill to win a race that will go down in the annals of racing as one of our classic races, as I'm sure it will. It will be recognised throughout Australia, and it's a great thrill to be the first one in the books.
It was close. Were you confident?
I was very confident going into the race, but during the race I was rather perturbed that she seemed to be back a bit further than I'd imagined, and had a lot of ground to make up in the straight.
You'd like to have seen her a bit further up there.
But she's a great filly, and she just went to the line very well.
Well, what's the program now?
She'll head off to Sydney and run in the Canterbury Guineas, the Rosehill Guineas, and if she's still acquitting herself well, in the AJC Derby.
She's truly the Queen of the Turf.
She's a wonderful filly and deserves to be there. She's a great staying filly.
You and Rose of Kingston would be the toast of Adelaide at the moment, and I think of all of Australia.
Well, I'm very glad. It's always nice to saddle up a favourite and to see them win. And it's a great thrill, and I'm glad she gives people such a great sight for their money.
Bob Hoisted, thank you very much. All the best for the future.
Thank you, Graham.
And so Graham Goodings talking to Bob Hoisted. Dennis Markham from the local advertiser here in Adelaide, I believe, is in a position to talk now with the winning jockey, Gary Willets. Gary probably has gone, well, he's certainly gone over the scales now, with correct weights showing now. Correct weight is there on the Australasian Oaks on the numbers 1, 6 and 2. And I know that Dennis is down there hoping to get Gary Willets before the start of the presentation. Here's Dennis now.
And a very delighted Gary Willets after the race. Gary, what did you think you'd won?
Well, I wasn't sure. I thought I just got up on the line, but Brent dashed my hopes when he said, I beat you.
Is that what he said to you after the race?
Yeah.
Did you save?
No, he didn't. No, I was pretty sure I'd just got there, but when he said that to me, I thought, gee, he's pretty competent, Brent. But it might have been a really good thing beat. I was going to make my run on the outside of the Copperama and Volley Dream, and they both shifted in front of me, so I had to go to the inside of them, and you know, it was just, well, hope I got there.
I think she's left no doubt who is the best 3-year-old staying filly in Australia.
Oh, yes, I think so.
And what now, Gary? Does she go to Sydney?
She goes to Sydney now, yes.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So let's take a break and then we'll come back and pick up as much of the presentation ceremony as we can before we have to break for, in a lot of cases, news around Australia.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and what a truly exciting inaugural Australasian Oaks we've seen here today. For the official presentation, I'd like you to welcome the chairman of the South Australian Jockey Club, Mr. Robert Clampett.
Thank you, Graham. Your Excellency, the Governor of South Australia, Sir Keith Seaman, ladies Seaman, ministers, your honours, our underwriters, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before calling on His Excellency, Sir Keith Seaman, to sash the winner of the Australasian Oaks, I would like to say the South Australian Jockey Club considers it a very high honour to stage a classic of this standing in Adelaide. Today's event is the first running of the Oaks, and it has attracted the best 3-year-old fillies in training in Australia and New Zealand. This has given us the encouragement to make next year's race an even bigger event. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honour on behalf of the SAJC to introduce to you His Excellency, the Governor of South Australia, Sir Keith Seaman.
Mr. Clampett, the Chairman of the South Australian Jockey Club, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I think you'll agree with me that that was a tremendous race, and I compliment the South Australian Jockey Club in promoting and presenting the inaugural running of the Australasian Oaks with such a large purse, because it's not only attracted the best fillies in training in Australia and New Zealand, but it's also focused Australia-wide attention on the Adelaide racing scene, and this is something of which South Australia can be proud. You may like a little bit of information which is new to me until yesterday, but I wondered where the name Oaks came from. And I discovered that the Oaks, of course, is named after the English classic race, the Oaks, that's run at Epsom, and dates back to 1779, and has always been for 3-year-old fillies. And indeed, it was promoted by the 12th Earl of Derby, whose name is familiar to all of you because of the Derby that's run, and he owned the horse Bridget, which won the first running of the Oaks in 1779. Well, I hope that's useful to some of you. It is to me anyway. But my task today is very pleasant, is to say not only was it a great race, it's a great horse, a great rider, and great owners. And I want to congratulate the owners, Mr. and Mrs. David Haynes and Mr. and Mrs. Devine, to congratulate the trainer, Mr. Bob Hoystad, and particularly congratulations to the jockey, Gary Willits.
And so there we have to leave His Excellency and the presentation ceremony. Ray Warren, another Network 10 sports special, has come to you from Morphettville in South Australia. For now, good night. Go with them when they sprinted, and in all into the stretch in the Australasian Oaks.
The race has been run and won on Network 10 by Rose of Kingston. On the Victorian tote, paid 80 cents for the win, 50 cents the place. Second, Volley Dream, $1.05. Third, number 2, Copperama, is paid 80 cents. Quinella for numbers 1 and 6, $6.35. Trifecta, $48.50. And the TAB Daily Doubler, number 2, Wishbone the Victorian in the first leg and 1 Rose of Kingston, paid $2.15. We certainly hope that you've enjoyed the telecast of the Australasian Oaks, another sports special on Network 10.
This program was proudly brought to you by Seidel Products.
We're looking good here, looking good there, looking good everywhere.
We're looking good together tonight with the characters, the places and the unique charm that go together to make up the magic of our city. 7 o'clock Monday to Friday.
When you're looking at Channel 10 in Melbourne, you're looking good.
All businesses. His role was to travel.
This is 10 Eyewitness News. First in Melbourne with David Johnston, Joe Pearson, Rob Gell and the 10 Eyewitness News team.
Good evening, David Johnston.
And Joe Pearson with Eyewitness News.